During the past 10 years, the Russian Far East has become the epicenter of illegal logging in northern temperate forests. Home to the world's last 450 wild Siberian tigers and remarkable biodiversity, this is a forest on the brink. Illegal loggers are stealing its valuable hardwoods, like oak and ash, at an alarming rate to feed demand for cheap wood flooring in the United States and around the world. A new investigation reveals that Lumber Liquidators, America's biggest wood flooring retailer, is importing this illegal wood from the last frontier of temperate old-growth forests in the world. The Environmental Investigation Agency is a nonprofit organization dedicated to combating environmental crime around the world. They have conducted field investigations into illegal logging in the Russian Far East since 2007. In a new report, EIA details organized criminal networks illegally harvesting timber in eastern Russia and tracks the wood across the border into China through factories and warehouses to its ultimate destination in showrooms around the world. EIA launched its investigation by analyzing trade data, looking for the largest companies sending wood to China from Russian tiger habitat. After identifying the biggest companies, a team of investigators went on the ground into the forests of the Russian Far East. Organized criminal groups coordinate small logging brigades that roam the countryside in search of the highest quality timber, flouting a host of laws meant to protect the forests. These brigades sell to traders who create fake documentation to launder these logs out of the country. It is a well-known fact in the region that if you buy from these traders, you are buying illegal wood. Chinese traders across eastern Russia told EIA investigators that up to 80% of timber harvested in the region is cut illegally.
你说那边黑石材能有多少？那边要说的话，恨不得把。
哎，大不全是。我在南方莆田的干了3年啊，几乎都是黑石材。以前我们天天带着南方人拿着钱啊，天天出去收下，有时候给你抢一抢。那可不，抢好几次，为啥说不干？拿枪顶着我3次。都是我都为啥受不了？那种性质我干不了。都是偷的财，你是俄罗斯的财，我去了以后我给你买了。
EIA's investigation led the team to Boskap, a city that stands at the frontier of Russia's last old-growth hardwood forests. Investigators found that the largest exporter in the city was a Chinese timber trader called Xinjia. The company operated a vast network of Russian sawmills linked to factories and warehouses across northeastern China.
这些公司为什么？因为在海华地区，我们公司对我们新加公司应该是在英文最大的，应该是最大的。
Siberië, a bustling industrial city, is the chief border entry point for Russian hardwoods. Formerly a sleepy military outpost on the frontier, Siberia's growing economy owes nearly all of its wealth to the vast timber trade with Russia. Alexander von Bismarck is the executive director of the Environmental Investigation Agency.
We posed as buyers and arranged a visit to the company in Siberië. Xinjia representative took us around the whole town. He showed us their private rail spur, their manufacturing centers, and he introduced us to some of the highest military and customs officials in the city. It was clear that they were a major power player in this border town through which over 95% of eastern Russian hardwoods pass going into China. From the border, we tracked the wood to Xinjia's wood flooring manufacturing plant in the seaport city of Dalian. When we first entered the factory, we were actually shocked to see pallets of packaged flooring belonging to Lumber Liquidators' proprietary Virginia Millworks brand of solid oak. The entire production line was focused on cutting, scraping, staining, and then finally boxing for final sale this flooring. The factory manager, Mr. Yu, the head of all China operations for Xinjia, told us that Lumber Liquidators was their main buyer, of all buyers. He said that Xinjia mixes together Russian and Chinese wood, and that Lumber Liquidators knows about it.
因为现在琢磨的资源越来越少，中国呢现在采伐量是逐年在下降，所以他要考虑以后未来中国能不能供上
它的一个稳定的一个供货量。
是。
欧洲说质量不行，欧洲的这个像那个什么德国、法国做工质量根本就不行。
Mr. Yu told us that Lumber Liquidator's senior management was set to visit their Russian operations in the upcoming month to make sure they could provide a consistent supply of cheap, high-quality Russian wood.
哦，你去
下去。
哦，你去干嘛？
那个拉出来那个采购的经理。
哦，他们也要去看看。
还有那个从上海这个办事经理，那个拉回来老板都来嘛。哦，他
这次这老板都来了。
他讲一讲说那个整个那个我们在欧洲那个俄罗斯那个杨木这些东西，因为现在最大的一个材料供应商就是我。哦，对，他想好好的抗这种，他们想对未来的几年他们有个大真不错，对，真不错。
At this point, we understood that Lumber Liquidators, the biggest flooring retailer in the United States, was buying its wood from a company that was illegally destroying key tiger habitat in Russia. Mr. Yu sent us back to Russia to meet with his brother-in-law, Mr. Sun, the company's president. He told us that Sun was connected at the highest levels of the local city government and that he regularly hosted visiting Chinese delegations, so we knew we were dealing with a powerful man.
而且中国人的手脚伸得非常厉害，从他的政治，从他那个高官到下面，中国人所有全这手脚在。咱们做木材为啥咱做最大？咱们跟那个做这个木材最大的俄罗斯的那个是谁呢？是州长、副州长的那个儿子。跟咱们非常好，跟咱们另一个给咱们做代理的做这些事儿啥的是远东地区总检察长的弟弟。那当然。所以俄罗斯做生意就这样。对。虽然说是很。
Mr. Sun was very straightforward. Less than an hour into our first meeting, he explained to us clearly how he cuts illegally on his own land, how he uses his permits to cut on other land, and how he bribes local officials to generally stay out of trouble. Sun explained that he buys the rest, more than 500,000 cubic meters each year, from a number of local traders. And these are the kind of traders that are known to offer the main laundering mechanism for the illegal logging brigades to move their illicit wood.
Mr. Sun provided EIA investigators with an official Russian permit from a company called Beryozovi.
We Googled the company, and in the first 4 results, we found that the company not only had a history of illegal logging convictions, but that they were actually currently under investigation for leading a criminal organization which had cut extensively inside and outside their forest concession, including in the neighboring national park, the northernmost range of the Siberian tiger.
EIA spoke with local law enforcement in Russia. They learned that another of Xinjia's largest suppliers was also under investigation for widespread illegal logging, and that the county where Xinjia bought most of its wood from had the highest rate of illegal logging in the whole province.
Russian enforcement officials told us that Xinjia was the company of greatest concern, historically and at present, for their role in illegal logging throughout the region. We saw only a small piece of what Lumber Liquidators saw, and we saw that there was illegal wood everywhere. It became clear in our investigation that there is no way that a responsible company or anybody could do business with Xinjia without knowing after the first meeting that they were dealing in illegal wood. And we know that Lumber Liquidators has been working with them for at least 5 years and is now their major customer, and was in fact given the same tour that we were given just a few weeks after we were there, and after it was explained to us quite clearly how illegal wood was pervasive in their supply chain.
Chinese traders across eastern Russia told EIA investigators that up to 80% of timber harvested in the region is cut illegally. Russia has recently begun to crack down on the systemic illegal logging that is ravaging its forests, arresting kingpins of organized criminal networks. These efforts are unlikely to deliver significant impact for the forests of the Far East if cheap, illegal wood products are still welcomed by the international market. Many consumer countries have enacted new policies to prohibit the flow of illegally sourced wood products. In 2008, the United States was the first to pass a new law banning import of illegally sourced timber and wood products.
So far, China has provided a convenient black box for most of the illegal wood from all corners of the globe, because when products come into the United States, they can simply be labeled "Made in China," and you have no idea where the wood is from. The Lacey Act, for the first time, shines light into this black box, and for the first time, now, when you have to ship your flooring to the United States from China, you have to say whether your oak came from Russia, or the US, or China, or Germany.
EIA's investigation revealed that since the 2008 Lacey Act amendments became law, lumber liquidators imported millions of square feet of solid oak flooring from a manufacturer that freely describes his own illegal logging practices and is under scrutiny by Russian authorities for illegal logging in the most threatened temperate forest in the world.
Breaking news at 6 involving a raid by federal agents at a major Virginia hardwood flooring company.
On September 26, 2013, federal officials investigated lumber liquidators for possible violations of the Lacey Act regarding imported wood flooring products from forests in far eastern Russia. The investigation is ongoing.